everybody, and welcome to Lorcanarama. And we have Sabrina back this week. Welcome back, Sabrina.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello. I hear a little bit low volume on me. Did you move away from your mic?
Again?
There we go. Nope, you're good now. There we go. Just needed a mic
Had it
adjustment.
pointed down a little.
Yeah, we're good. We're good now. Alrighty. So, welcome to everybody. If you're joining us in chat, it's episode 33 of Lorcanarama. We have made 33 episodes. That's supposedly the perfect age for a human being. Did you know that? It's like when
The perfect age?
Yeah, you're supposedly at your peak physically and also mentally, So, it's why a lot of athletes, when you see them, they're on the downside of their career after 33, right? That's it. So they've
Makes
peaked.
sense.
So it's supposedly the perfect combination of physical and mental prowess in humans, roughly. So,
So I have time to improve is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
I haven't peaked
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah. You know what? My birthday's in 2 days. I'll be 22 years past peak productivity. So
Happy early birthday. You and Jake in the same week. That's crazy.
Oh, I know, right? Hey, happy birthday, Jake, if you're listening out there, man. So, yep, I should have had him on for his birthday. Man.
Jake had a great birthday weekend. Jake
Did he?
won a playmat at PAX and then went to Fogo on his birthday for the first time. All right. Jake was
Fobo?
living it up this weekend.
What's a Fobo?
Fogo de Chao, the Brazilian steakhouse.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. I've been to
That's
Brazilian
where he wanted for
steakhouses,
his
not that chain, but go ahead.
That's where he wanted for his birthday, so that's where all 14 of us went.
I'll tell you this about Brazilian steakhouse. I went to one in Houston one time. I now understand the concept of being meat drunk. So it's
You get the meat sweats.
Yeah, I was like a little dizzy at eating so much meat. I was like, man, it's not good for my heart. But so anyway, so
Crazy
Sabrina
experience.
this weekend. Tell us where you went, Sabrina, and Sabrina is going to tell us all about that little trip she made. So
Yeah, so I was at PAX Unplugged all weekend. It's a tabletop gaming convention in Philly. Happens every year. It's usually in the beginning of December. This year it was a little bit early. Next year it'll be December 4th through the 6th. Highly recommend checking it out. It's great. Board games, RPGs. I spent most of my weekend in the Lorcana section grinding to get a playmat. Jake and I did 2v2 Friday night. I'll circle back to my thoughts on 2v2. And
okay,
then I did a super sealed on Saturday, a core constructed on Saturday, and then an infinity constructed on Sunday.
man, that's a lot of playing.
Yeah. Oh
Uh,
yeah, I played more than I've ever played in my life.
Here you go. I got a
um,
picture. Here's a picture of you guys. I pulled up on the
yeah,
stream. There's that playmat. That's a sweet looking playmat.
it's pretty cool. Jake and I both won one with literally the exact same deck. His Infinity deck was only half built, and it was the same as mine mostly. So I was like, why don't you just play my deck? So we both played the same Amber Steel aggro deck, and both walked away with a mat, which was pretty nice.
Nice, nice. You feel justified now, right? Because you've been on Amber Steel and I've been giving you grief, and you won a mat with it.
Yeah,
So.
I did. It was a 5-man pod though, so
Well, congratulations, anyways. So.
Thank you. uh, Wanted to touch on 2v2 because I know that's a bit of a new
Sure.
format. I think it has the potential to be a very fun format. I think when you talk things like 2v2, I think the competitive nature is definitely changed a bit versus, an individual level. But I don't know if there was a miscommunication from Ravensburger to the team, running the event, or if the team running event was the one that set up the rules. I'm not sure, but it was a little bit of a soup sandwich.
Hmm.
It didn't quite make sense the way things were run. You both had to get to 20 lore. There was confusion about how bodyguard worked in a field that big. Um, I will say we had a lot of fun. Jake and I met the first people we played against. We had some really great conversations with after the game. We exchanged, information with. I would actually love to bring him on as a guest down the road
Sure.
because He loves to ask judges tough questions, and I think the two of you would make for a very interesting episode.
Alrighty. Bring it
um,
on.
the second people we played were very nice. They had just opened Bananas cards and beat us, and truthfully, I don't remember the third game. Um, but yeah, I hope that 2v2 down the line can become more of a little bit more of a format. I know in the game that shall not be named, there's a 2v2 format that is pretty common at like pre-release events and things like that. I'd like to see that become a little more common for Lorcana. I think it's fun. Um, that's really that. The one other format that I didn't know was there, or I definitely would have played in it, was this format where you did sealed and played around,
Mm-hmm. And then draft.
drafted
Yeah.
and played around,
We did that in
and then
Milwaukee.
mixed the two together.
Yep.
That sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, we did that
Why
in
did nobody tell
Milwaukee.
me that was a thing?
The logistics of that are kind of I won't say a nightmare. It's like, you got to allow time for deck building on the sealed, right? And then you play
Oh, it has to
around.
take forever.
Yeah, and then you have to allow time to draft, and then you play around. And the good thing is that round 3 just goes right in after round 2. There is no waiting there. You have to combine your deck. I think they gave them some time in between those rounds to combine their decks or whatever. I'm not sure, but anyways.
Definitely a time-consuming format. But thank you for reminding me. That was the one other thing I wanted to touch on for about the 2v2. The timing was weird. So they did a 50-minute round, best of 1.
Mm-hmm.
Which was fine. I will say it was not enough time. There was no way both of the games that I was in could have easily gone beyond 50 minutes. Like there was concession involved for that to end. But they said that if it went to turns, it only went to 3 turns because of the length of the turns. So I would like to see them make that time a little bit longer. Like, can we get a 70-minute round? Or a 65-minute round? Like, it just wasn't enough time.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts on the new format.
And so Pastimes did PAX, right?
Yes, which is also the people running the DLCs.
Right. So they the DLC, I'm not gonna say it was their first shot at doing Lorcana. They've done it in some other events before, but I do know that I ran side events. Well, I wouldn't say I ran them. I did side events and I ran a few of them. Not all of them when I was in Milwaukee. And I was pleasantly surprised at the different types of formats that they had. I thought it was, like the one you just mentioned, the sealed draft and whatever. And then they had super sealed, which, I ran those, took some flack for it. But, a little stern. I was probably a little too stern with some of the players who were questioning why we were doing 40 card decks. And I probably could have handled that better.
There were a lot of questions during the super sealed.
Yeah.
A lot of questions because
we were told, we started off and I think they gave us, it was 35 minutes for build time for super sealed. And I extended it. I talked to my fellow judges and I was like, hey, that's not enough time. Like there's like so many packs here to go through, it's not like a regular sealed with 6 packs. I can't remember how many you had. But
almost triple that. It's 15 packs.
Yeah, it's a lot of packs. And so I extended it 15 minutes, which everybody was able to build during that time. Some of them hurried up, but it was a 40 card minimum. And that's because, of course, when there is no official guidelines for a format, the tournament rules say that a limited format has a minimum of 40 card deck. Now, yes, they played 50 at Worlds. I get that. But we were not playing by the rules at Worlds. We were playing a limited format, and all we had were the tournament guidelines to go by, which only say a minimum is 40 cards. And now you could play more than 40, but that was your minimum. And, some folks, I don't know if they just wanted to be right or if they didn't like the 40 cards or whatever, but there were some folks that gave me grief, and I was like, hey, it's what it is, so, that's okay. So
there was some confusion in my event about ink colors. We were originally told it had to be kept to 3 ink colors.
That's what it was when I did it.
But then we were told that was not accurate, but that they had already made the decision, so we were sticking with it.
Huh. Now when we were in Milwaukee, we did 3. In fact, I would see folks when you have the dual color cards, it's easy to put a fourth ink in there and not catch it. And there were several folks who did that. And as I was walking up down the tables, I'd see it, and I wouldn't penalize anybody for it at the time because it's a casual event, but I'd pull them aside and I'd say, hey, come see me when you're done. And then I'd say, hey, can you fix your deck? You got 4 colors in it. Just take out the card, And so,
Sure.
So I wasn't gonna make a scene there in front of anybody. It was, cards are innocuous most of the part, So anyway, well, that sounds like you had a great time. I hope that I've always wanted to go to PAX East. I've always wanted to go to Gen Con too. So maybe next year is my year. So we'll see.
Yeah.
So
they're very fun events.
Yeah, I like board games too. So it's kind of cool.
I did not know that. I love board games.
I love board games. We have another podcast about board games. So that's a whole nother area for me. It's another world. That's another world. So we had a big event here too, in our area. Most of you saw it. We were promoting it on the stream here. And it was the Gulf Coast Challenge in Pensacola, Florida. It was a Pro Play Summit qualifying event for Pro Play Summit Orlando. We had 32 people, which honestly, in my head, I dreamed for 40 to 50, but reality told me if I got 16, I would be happy with it. And I could tell you on the day before, we were sitting at about 13, and then they just started registering left and right. And then people showed up. And when we hit 32, I was to me, that was the perfect number, right? Because if I'd have done 33, I'd have had to do 6 rounds for one more person.
Yeah.
And so, and while I'm sure the players, and we'll have Steven on in a second, would have loved to play a 6th round, I know for me, it was already a long day. And so, the 5 rounds were adequate to get our winner. So yeah, I got to do something real quick though. I got to give a shout out to Mattified right now, because I'm going to say this. I don't have any of them in front of me right now, but Craig from Mattified came to the event and donated 4 play mats to give out. And it was pretty sweet. I did not think, I thought that maybe I'd have one. I brought my own. I brought the Elsa one from the show, from the podcast here. And I was like, I'll give that out if I have to, and,
Sure.
But Craig came and he gave 4 play mats. And yeah, I'll go ahead and tell which ones. Let me go and pull Steven up, and then we'll talk about the event. So I want to show everybody something real quick though. So there's the winner right there, Steven, aka Dr. Pepper. So I'd give him that nickname, whether he wants it or not. It's his nickname now. so he was on the show. He's been on the show before. In fact, he filled in last week for you, Sabrina, when you were out. It was me, him, and Jake. So Steven has come back 2nd week in a row. So Steven, I'm going to go ahead and pull you up. Welcome back to Lorcanarama. So
good to be here.
So welcome, my friend. Congratulations on winning the Gulf Coast Challenge this week. Now, if anybody's seen, I actually did a little picture that'll be our thumbnail on YouTube. I also named your deck for you. I don't know if you saw that. I've called it Ward Wipe. So, yeah, because it's, if you guys haven't seen the deck, it's a Emerald Amethyst deck, and we're going to pull it up and look at it in a minute. Steven's going to talk about it. But it's an Emerald Amethyst deck that focuses, uses the Prince Philip board wipe combo, and with a bunch of ward characters to protect Prince Philip whenever he's ready to quest, and plus all the ward characters quest too. It's just hard to get rid of them. He can quest for a lot real fast once he gets the board wiped. So anyways, we'll talk about that in a second. But go back to the event real quick. So the Mattified play mats, I got to tell you how we gave them out, because to me, amongst all the prizing we gave out, it was incredible. I can't believe the store that hosted us, they weren't really putting on the event. They just provided the venue, but they provided food for everybody.
Look at that shine.
Yeah, that's the Mattified mat. That was the first place mat.
That's
Show it again, Steven.
beautiful.
Go ahead, pull it up again, Steven. There you go. Yeah, that's an awesome map. So that was first place. And then we actually gave a Mattified Look at This Family to the person under the age of 15 who finished the highest. We gave a Donald Duck Buccaneer Mattified play mat to the person who finished in last place. So they had to do the walk of shame to come and get it. But that's a $150 walk of shame right there, because that's how much those mats go for. And my favorite one that we gave out was we gave out the green legendary Hades from a few sets ago. And I had everybody, I didn't tell them why. I think they could have figured it out if they would have thought about it. But during the tournament, to keep track of how many characters you had that left play because of Hades, whether it was a blue Hades that put him in the inkwell, it was the purple Hades that put him on the bottom of the deck, or if the Hades challenged into him, or if a Hades sung a song and got rid of him, it didn't matter. If a character left play because of Hades, they kept track of it, and then the player who had the most characters leave play because of Hades got that Hades playmat. So,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. We just had some fun with that. We gave out the store also donated like 6 Stitch gift sets. We had the Matified playmats. We had Pro Play Summit playmats. We had troves. We had one player who donated a whole bag of stuff, an IKEA bag full of stuff that we gave out. And we had a brand new player who, I'm telling you, he was a little kid. Man, that kid made off like a bandit at that tournament. Like he got binders, deck boxes, sleeves just for showing up, right? I gave him a bunch of commons and uncommons from the last 6 sets. I gave him a set of all of those plus a few rares tucked in there. And then he got one of the stitches. He also got a random prize, which was an Ursula's Return trove. And I told his parents, don't think that every tournament is like this one. Like, is this above and beyond, so, it was pretty cool event. So, I had fun. I want to thank everybody and thank you to Andrew from the Rougarou stream. Andrew, that dude was streaming from 9:45 to 8:08 at night without stopping. So it was, and we dual streamed to both platforms, to ours and his. So we had several folks watching on ours on Saturday, and I would come in and do commentary every now and then. And so it was pretty fun event. I want to thank everybody for coming, and I'll wait and do it another year. So I need a break. It was a lot. So
it sounds like it was a really successful event.
Yeah, it was. So Steven, of course, will tell you it was definitely successful because he won it. So I'm gonna pull up your deck, Steven, real quick, and we'll all be on the stream together here. So if you go to Ink Decks, we do have the event up. It's right above that SCG Con Las Vegas, which, by the way, the winner of that with their Ruby Amethyst deck is going to be on our stream next week to do a deck tech on that. So if you guys are listening, make sure you join us next Tuesday night, and we'll have 2 deck techs in a row, which is kind of cool. And here we go. We're going to pull up our event here, and we'll pull up Steven's deck, this Emerald Sapphire Ward Wipe. So I should have named it Ward Wipe in Ink Decks. I can go back and change that. I might do that. So, Steven, let's talk.
Did you just say it was Emerald Amethyst?
I did, and that was wrong. That was me wishing and hoping. Okay. So Emerald Sapphire.
I thought I just went crazy in the last 5 minutes.
I'm projecting, so I live in a world where Emerald Amethyst is so close. I just wanted to win so bad.
I got my butt handed to me by one this weekend. We can talk about that later.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good right now. But I was surprised nobody played it. Well, actually one person played it. We had one person play it and they finished in the top 16, I think they did with it. So
nice.
So Steven, let's talk about your deck and how you came up with the idea and then the evolution of it. I mean, I was there as you worked on it and in Discord and stuff and with the team and things like that. But your thought process and all that behind it, because folks are definitely going to be interested in something like this because it's different, right? It's not your typical Emerald Sapphire deck. It's not your typical deck, period. So it uses a lot of old cards and some new cards, specifically one, Mean, Malicious, and Scary. That's the big one that probably does the work for you. But go ahead, Steven. I'll let you talk to it.
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to start by saying I think I was at a disadvantage for your Hades challenge for that mat because my stuff doesn't really get banished very often. It's hard to target.
Right. Well, you got enough anyways, right?
Yeah.
If you would have left with 2 play mats, I'd have had a mutiny on my hand.
Yeah. Well, the top 8, I got one too, right? I got a PPG play mat, so there's that too. That's good. All right, so basically there's 2 paths that brought this deck together. The first one is my love of green blue in general, including the traditional Clarabelle build, which you've seen me play many times before, even before last set, the Heads Held High, Under the Sea package, all that. And then the other side is the ward, because I'm always looking for a way. The less my opponent can interact with me, and the more frustrated I can make them trying to deal with my stuff, the better in my book. So I've always tried to put together a ward deck, but it's usually not good enough against aggressive decks or any deck that can go wide, or there's other answers. I started this set with traditional green-blue, with the Clarabelle package, Cinderella, what everyone's doing. But with the rise of Amethyst Steel in particular, it's very popular. I think there were 6 in the top 16 at Vegas. Um, that green blue can beat it, but it all comes down to the Prince Philip combo, and you just ink all your Clarabelles. And I just wasn't getting card draw, and I was like, well, if I'm going to build the deck around that anyways, I wonder if I could take my old plan. The last set, I tried to build an all-ward deck with the Heads Held High, Under the Sea combo. It just wasn't good enough. After you got the combo off, it didn't finish very cleanly. And now on a whim, I said, I'm just going to put Prince Philip in a ward package. And as it turns out, Alice and Goofy can protect him after the combo. And if you do that, you win in 2 turns. And so the typical play line, just looking at the deck here, and I can go through all the cards individually, but your goal is, and it's not really a ramp deck, right? You don't need ramp on 2. In fact, Sail is not one of the cards I keep by default. I mean, if I have everything else I need, yes, I keep Sail. It's good to get to 6 ink a turn earlier. That's fine. But in general, I keep Malicious, Mean, and Scary, Prince Philip 3-drop, Prince Philip 6-drop, effectively the shift. And if I get all 3 of those, then I can start looking at the other cards I keep. The next one is Visions of the Future. I always keep that, which I'm going to play on 2 generally. And then everything else I throw back, even the Sail. So the goal would be turn 2, Vision. If I don't have the combo yet, you have, and I'll talk about Heffalumps and Woozles and the others you can use to slow them down. Prince Philip on 3 or Alice. Ideally ramp Sail on turn 3 into Philip or Alice, whichever one you're missing. And then on turn 5, you play the combo, you protect the Prince Philip with Alice, and you just quest out from there. She quests for 2, and then you're questing for 6, 6, 6, and so it's just 3 turns, and generally everything has ward, so they can't kill it. While you're waiting for the combo, obviously they're questing usually really quickly. They can't do anything else. The removal doesn't do anything against all the ward characters. So Heffalumps and Woozles is perfect, especially against something like Palace Guard, which I've killed a lot of those, as you saw, Kelsey. Turn 1 they drop Palace Guard. Turn 2 you Heffalumps and Woozles, and they've got nothing on the board, and you're a turn closer. And then if you look at all of the, whether it's Develop, Sail, Vision, Night Howler Rage is just another copy of Heffalumps and Woozles. It's on 3. You play it, draw a card, and prevent them from questing. Save 2 lore, basically, 2 or 3 lore. Hypnotic Deduction, like everything draws a card, right? And you're just trying to find your 3 combo pieces, and ideally Alice or Goofy to protect it. That's the core. The other cards are kind of backup. The deck's not necessarily, without just doing its normal thing. Turn 1 Daisy Duck, aggressive questers, they're going to beat you. If they get lore too quickly, the combo, I mean, it's like turn 5 or 6 to get off, so they're going to be way too high of lore. And that's if they don't even disrupt you with Ursula or something along the way, right? So that's where Lewis and John Silver came in, which is what I preferred for the old green-blue last set. If you just go turn 3 Lewis, turn 4 Lewis, turn 5 John Silver. Also, you've got Heffalumps and Woozles and Night Howler Rage. That's like the anti-aggro package. And honestly, you generally just ink the combo pieces against aggro and just say, I'm going all in on Reckless. And as long as their Lilos and Nalas and Daisy Ducks are attacking my Lewises and John Silvers and Scuttle, I'm going to end up winning. The last 2 cards for different matchups are Ursula, which is sometimes you're playing a green deck, and if they're going first or if they have ramp, they can sometimes get the combo off if they're playing the Prince Philip combo before you. And so the Ursula is to prevent that, because nothing else can affect your board, right? Because it's all warded. You play the Ursula the turn before they would do their combo, and then ideally you follow up with your own. And on the other side of that is Max Goof. If you're playing a deck that's playing Ursulas, they're going to discard your Malicious, Mean, and Scary. You got to get it back because you're not going to win without it. And so that's where Max Goof comes in to get the Malicious, Mean, and Scary back. And oh, by the way, he can sing it so that you actually get a quest with your Prince Philip. That's basically the core.
When I got a chance to sit down and watch the finals as the judge, I just kind of sat there at the table and watched you guys. And went back and was talking on the stream, doing a recap of it. And Andrew asked me, what I thought about some things. And I was like, if I'd have told you that for 2 or 3 sets, we've had a 2-cost inkable song that says banish a character and draw a card. Would you play it? And he was like, yes. And I go, and I said, well, that's essentially what Hefflups and Woozles was against Purple Steel, between the Cobra and the Palace Guard. As I watched you take out 2 Cobras with it, after they came down in the finals, and then a Palace Guard as well. And so, that the card against Amethyst Steel was just incredible. And we had 2 really good Amethyst Steel players that were in the finals there, and I think you got paired up against both of them in the top 4. You faced one who was the top seed in the tournament, and you beat him, and then you won the 2nd seed. They were the 2 and 3 seeds. Sorry. So the top seed coming in was Ruby Amethyst, and he got paired up in a mirror match in the top 8 and lost the mirror match. Our top seed did. Ruby Amethyst did make a showing this weekend at our tournament and also at SCG Con. So did you play against any of the Ruby Amethyst decks on Saturday?
I did not. I was looking forward to if I could, but no. I played Amethyst Steel, which was really the deck I was targeting.
Yeah.
I 2-0'd the semifinal, both of them. I was on the draw. I 2-0'd the semifinal and 2-1 the finals, basically on a misplay. And he had a really fast start game 1 in the finals. But as far as I'm concerned for the deck, the Ruby Amethyst deck that's been floating around, it's the same. It's a fast quester, lots of removal, and they're playing. What's the 6-cost gargoyle? Demona. So Demona is one of the answers to my ward wall, as I call it, and so I've got to get the combo off before they get her down, and that's true of both decks. They're playing 3 or 4 of them. I know Ruby Amethyst is playing 4. Decks are very similar, and I hadn't settled on the deck until during my testing. I was worried about the Amethyst Steel matchup specifically being so popular, and I 2-0'd it 4 times in a row against top players. And I thought, okay, the deck can beat them. It's probably good enough to bring. And obviously it was.
Yeah. Yeah. You did take 1 loss, and that was to Ruby Steel. A lot of folks on the stream were interested in that Ruby Steel deck. So you want to talk to that a little bit? And I can pull that list up real quick while you're doing that. Tell us about that matchup. What went wrong for you on that one?
Yeah. It's one of the matchups that kind of surprised me. I'll talk about Ruby Steel. Locations is another deck that I have trouble with. And then Ursula, when she shows up, can be annoying. But this one, if you look at the 4-drop Uninkable Mulan there, can challenge readied characters. And I believe he's only playing 3 copies of One Last Hope. So I put down my turn 3 or 4 Philip, and he can just challenge it. And that's, I don't get the 9 ink, right? I'm not a ramp deck. I stop at 6. I don't have any card draw. So my whole hand's dead. He got me in the Swiss. Looking back at because it was streamed, I did make some play mistakes there. And I thought for sure he was going to crush me in the quarterfinals, but I was on the play, having being a higher seed, and was just really, honestly, he missed the One Last Hope. I think on one of them, I got the Ursula down just in enough time to get my combo off. But I did not want to see that Mulan, that One Last Hope. It was just surprising, like, oh man, the one card that can actually interact with my board, and he's playing it,
That Mulan is a day ruiner. Every time, it doesn't matter what deck I'm playing. The second I see that, I'm like, all right, I lost. I'm gonna go cry in the corner now. Like every time.
Yeah. I feel that way about the Shift Mulan, like when I'm playing my, Emerald Steel Chromicon deck. It's like as soon as they come down with a little Mulan, I go, oh boy, how am I going to get rid of that Joker?
You know what's coming.
Yeah, I don't want to walk into that Mulan at all, because that'll wipe 3 of my characters before I get to bounce one. So, but.
Oh yeah, you see, he has both of the big Shift Mulans as well, and that 7-drop Mulan, she also lets you challenge ready characters. So It seemed like he had the answer for everything for me. But I was fortunate enough to pull it out in the top 8.
Yeah, it was so the first time, so you're lost to him, and during the the 5 round during the Swiss rounds, it caught the attention of a lot of folks on stream. First of all, your deck, most folks that saw your deck just assumed it was a regular Emerald Sapphire deck, and then so they were, oh, Ruby Steel is beating Emerald Sapphire. Oh, they weren't really paying attention to what you were playing, mainly because there were a couple of games where the one game he had pretty much overwhelming control and you didn't really get to play much, and so it was at least what I saw on the stream. And so folks couldn't really tell what your deck was. They just assumed they knew what it was. They were like, oh, he missed his ramp. I remember that comment at one point. And so anyways, yeah, because, you probably wouldn't see it back on the stream that for Rougarou, I was looking at it on the Lorcanarama stream. We had our own folks in there chatting too, and so, so anyways, so yeah, it was they were interested. And so they were asking, hey, put the Ruby Steel back on stream. They wanted to see it. And so we tried to accommodate, and get the folks get the decks on stream that folks were looking for. And that was you guys' matchup. It got streamed in, and I think they caught the tail end of it, because you guys, I don't think you guys were the feature match that round. You were the back, you were the second match. Yeah. So they cut to you guys after, we cut to you guys after the first match was over, the feature match was over. But yeah, it was pretty neat. Popular decks. So.
I was gonna say, it's funny that you mentioned them not knowing what I was playing, because that happened to the commentators when they were actually focused on my match. And Andrew had said the same thing in game one. He's like, oh, he missed his ramp, he's in trouble. And I believe I inked a sail to play the Hufflepuff or something. So it was like, it wasn't even, it just wasn't even a consideration for me. And my opponent, and as you know, he was like, yeah, like games 1 and 2, I kept keeping these strengths, waiting for the Clarabelle to come down, and you just never gave me a target. And so that's one of the benefits of the deck as well, is you ink a turn 1 visions, or I'm never going to do that, but they see your colors and they're like, oh, I know what he's playing, and they just don't, right?
Yeah, they just
element
assume.
of surprise is on your side.
Yeah. Yeah, I Andrew asked me a couple questions about his deck, and like I knew what he was playing. I knew what Steven was playing, because he had shared the list with me, and I knew what he was trying to do, and I'd ask him questions about it. And I had my doubts about it. I didn't have my doubts about the deck. I had questions. In fact, I think I worded it, I know you've done your due diligence. Those are my words, but my concern was, and I had this conversation with Steven afterwards too. My reasoning behind it wasn't where my concern was, is that he didn't have enough resources. He didn't have enough resource advantage. It was the way I looked at it. Because a lot of his cards replace themselves, but that's all they do. They replace themselves. They don't really get extra cards. And so that was where I was concerned about it. But obviously it wasn't a problem. So, I never sat down and played with it. I just looked at the list, ran it around in my head. I saw what he was doing with it, and just that resource issue was the thing that popped out at me. But
they're good questions as well, no doubt about it. I had my own doubts, as I told some of my friends when we were first starting the tournament. I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I made the right call here or not. I mean, obviously I wouldn't have brought it unless I thought it had a chance of winning. But to your point about the resources, it's got no cards to spare. I used to have the Webby combo in here because it is good against Sapphire. It can be good on the draw. She's a warded character. She fits the theme. And you might be saying, hey, did you cut Webby because you couldn't afford her or something? No, I tried her out. The 1-drop Webby, like when I get to the 6 ink for the combo, I mean, I need the extra Alices. I need the extra Goofies. I need every card I'm playing. There's no card draw. Like, it's all cantrips. In other words, cards that replace themselves. And the 1-drop Webby puts me behind a card. And the Webby doesn't always ink to replace herself. And so I'm like, and often she won't even quest. If they get down a Calhoun and a Hook, it's like, oh, did I even get 2 ink, 2 lore off of her? So I cut her and said, you know what? I'm going straight to the combo, all warded characters, and every other card's going to draw a card. And that really worked out.
And it was surprising in this tournament. I don't think anybody was playing Sapphire other than you. I didn't see hardly any when I walked around.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Really?
Sometimes it's hard to get the Cinderellas.
That's probably why. Yeah. So, yeah, no Blurple players. A lot of Purple Steel was there. Ruby Amethyst was popular. There were two Dogs decks. Yeah, it was a good spread, but no other Sapphire decks that I saw. So
That's shocking to me.
that was shocking to
And I
me.
was really hoping to see Sapphire Steel or Blurple, but Sapphire
Mhm.
Steel in particular, which I consider one of the better decks. This deck, as far as I can tell, it's an auto win. Like they've got one out if they know how to play it, and that's play beyond the horizon as quickly as possible and hope they hit your combo.
Yep.
But nothing else in the deck can interact with you. I mean, it just doesn't. And
Yeah.
their cards are so expensive they can't even go wide after the board wipe, right? So it often would look like, okay, you sing with the Prince Philip, so you can protect with Alice or Goofy. You sing with Prince Philip, shift, protect with Alice or Goofy, and then their follow-up is a Hades that does nothing. It's just a 3/6 that costs 7, or a Headless Horseman, 8-drop sometimes, and that's just not fast enough on how fast you quest.
Yeah, I made the comment. I probably gave Sapphire Steel a little more credit than it probably deserved. You know, a couple, I think it was last week. I said, this is probably win Richmond. You know, and I've played against it more and more, and I'm like, it's not the boogeyman that it was. It's easy enough to deal with.
It's funny. Last week you said briefly the topic of Ward came up. You're like, I wonder if anyone's gonna ever play a Ward deck, and I hadn't sent you the list yet. And I was already on the fence on whether I was going to play it, so I kind of just smirked the background. I don't know if you saw.
That was a profit. So yeah, I like this. You know, I have played around with the concept of Ward in the you know, Emerald Steel Chromicon deck. You know, to kind of like, well, at least I get to quest out on them before you bounce it, right? And that's the way I was looking at it with it. And now one of the things that I've been enjoying with Emerald Steel Chromicon is most of the removal that it's facing now in the meta is basically putting stuff in my inkwell, and I have Webby, and so now all of a sudden I can play a little bit higher end cards in that deck, and not have a problem getting them down. The Goliath, which is like a second dock in that deck, you know, that's nice, and you know, also running the Goofy. I run the Goofy, same one you have here. So, you know, it's just once he hits the board, that Joker's going to get me 3. It's the way I look at it, you know, and it's nice. And so now I'm toying with, I don't have the Philip combo in my deck. And I'm like, do I do it? Do I try it? You know, I don't need it. I don't think I need it right now. I think I'm fine. But part of me is like, just give it a shot and just see, you know. So that's probably my next path, is just to see how it works. I don't know. I think it's kind of out of place, but I wouldn't be doing my due diligence if I didn't give it a shot, is to see what it does, you know. So anyways, Sabrina, anything stand out with you about this? Any questions about it or any insights? Or
I just like that we're finally showing off a deck that's all like 3 and 4 ofs, instead of like 2 of this card and 1 of that card and 2 of that card. And I look at it and I think, how do you play this deck with any consistency?
uh,
Like, this is visually like, I can look at this, I can understand what we're doing, I understand why we're playing the number of cards. I like it. I think it's cool. I mean, I'm currently on the same color combo. Very different deck. I'm on like the typical Clarabelle path, but I think this is a very interesting take on that color combo. Shocking to hear you say that you normally ink the sail, though. As a Baja Blast color player, like right now, that is like the most shocking thing I've ever heard. Sail in your inkwell.
Well, it's a good
Crazy.
cantrip, and if I do play it, it's going to be on turn 4. So I play my 3-drop, and then on turn 4, you'll see I have no 4-drops in the deck, so there's nothing to ramp to. So
Sure.
yeah, so if I'm playing a 3-drop on 3 anyways, I might as well save the sail for turn 4 and play it and a Philip, or it and an Alice, or it and a Lewis or something.
You also only run 1 uninkable. Well, I mean, it's a 4 of, but the only uninkable card is the Alice. So you're not having a problem inking cards.
I
Definitely
laugh.
not.
I laugh
Yeah.
because Steven's like, I hate unequables.
Oh, I do. If it comes down to an uninkable versus an inkable, even when I was one of the pioneers for the blue-green heads held high under the sea last set. Took it really high on Lorcanito. I don't know if we're allowed to pitch that
Sure.
here, but
We don't care.
even then, it was like 4 Hades, 3 under the sea, so 7 uninkables, and I never play like 9 or 10 or 11, like too many for me. I'm more of like, hey, give me 4 impactful cards, no more. Like, I want to have a plan going into the next turn every time.
See, you wouldn't like the
That makes sense.
Chromicon deck. I run about 21 unequals in that Joker. And I get
That's
away with
a
it.
crazy number, Kelsey.
I get away with it because everything's so low and I have so many filters, and it would drive you crazy too, Sabrina, because there aren't very many 4-ofs in that deck other than my filters and my docks and my Chromicons. The rest of it is they're cards that I can search for, and which is why I've had a lot of success with it lately. Because of the filters, I can search for cards that are matchup specific, and play that way. So yeah, it helps out quite a bit. And the great thing is, especially when you're on the blind, I actually yesterday, I was kind of bragging about it. It was a humble brag, but on our Discord, I actually went back to the Chromicon deck after playing Emerald Amethyst for a bit and ran my rating up to master level. Went 9-4 on the draw with it.
Wow.
And so, that was, to me, it's like when you go 9-4 on the draw, and that's against Purple Steel and against Ruby Amethyst decks too. I'm like, okay, maybe I've hit on the right combination here with these cards finally, and that's where the filtering helps out, because once, like, you don't know what you're playing, right? The good thing about being on the draw is I can ascertain what I'm playing against before I even get my turn one for the most part. And so now when I drop my filter card, I know what I'm filtering for my turn 2 play, or whatever,
Sure.
and so I know how to sculpt my hand a little bit better. So, it's, it just worked out pretty good. So, but
It was crazy.
go ahead, Steven.
I was gonna say, last thing I wanted to say about this deck is, for your viewers, is that it's incredibly cheap. So if you don't want to go out and get the Cinderellas, if you don't want to get the Webbies, you want to play a deck where every card, I mean, I didn't cut stuff because it was expensive. These are the 60 I wanted to play. It's less than $25, potentially less than $20. I'm considering cutting the Max Goose because as much as I wanted to protect against Ursula, it didn't always line up, and he's kind of awkward on the curve. So if you take him out, he's like $1 each. You could probably get this for less than $20. You could probably borrow the whole thing.
Out of curiosity, what are your potential sub-ins if you take him out? I assume there's a short list that you're testing.
Improvise. I want to slim the deck down even more, and it'll be a 56 card. Well, I mean, every deck card's a cantrip, but yeah, it's just another one drop. Right now, all I have is the develop, which I mulligan away in my opener. And so now when I get a new hand, it's even more likely that I can, filter on turn 1, go into visions or sail or something on turn 2. So improvise is the number 1 card I'm looking at.
Interesting.
Something else to target a illusion character too. So.
Yeah, like I said, the deck's already really good against Amethyst Steel.
Yeah.
I think it's the best deck in a vacuum, Amethyst Steel. So might as well target it.
Yep. Yeah, I think so. That you say best deck in a vacuum, right? With the rise of Ruby Amethyst this last weekend, and a lot of people look at that. Like you said earlier, it's the kind of plays the same. It's just a little bit heavier. I would say it could quest faster. I think with Diablos. And that's a painful card for me. I have learned in when I play against Ruby Amethyst with my particular deck that I'm playing, I got to get rid of Diablo. Like I can't. They can race me with it, or they can control my board with it. It's like that and Calhoun are the two worst cards that I hate playing against with Emerald Steel Chromicon right now. And so that card gets my attention as soon as it hits. In fact, I hold Webbies back so I can drop them into a Mulan and get rid of it if they decide to quest, and because +1 the Mulan, that's I'll catch them off guard with that a lot of times. So yeah, it's a hateful card. And the reason it's hateful is you can't really bounce it because it's so cheap. They're just going to replay it probably, and so you don't, when they'll take something out with it, it's just that and Calhoun, they both turn around and come right back to the board, except they're not exerted for you to run into them now. That's just like, So, well, good job, my friend. It's a good deck. I like it. The Prince Philip combo, of course, is all the rage right now. It seems with everybody, playing Emerald. So it's one of those things that as an Emerald fan myself, I'm happy that we have board right, but I'm also sad because now all these bandwagon folks are going to be on the color, trying to get that combo off. And, so.
I jumped back on the bandwagon for it.
Did you? There you go. There you go. Point prove it. So.
Hey, I was a day one green fan. It's not my fault that Amber Steel just kind of like caught my eye and I was distracted,
Yeah, you're that meme. You're that meme where the guy walking down the sidewalk with his girlfriend turning around and looking back. Yeah, right.
That is me. Man, it was wild going from playing the like Baja Blast ramp deck where I'm like trying to get to 12 ink. And then the next day going and playing Amber Steel aggro in Infinity where I'm like, yeah, I can sit on 2 for a couple turns. I'll be okay. Like such a wild thought process difference to have played them back to back.
So, yeah, I can imagine. What did you let me go back. I know you had Piglets, right? Because you love that card, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love
Okay.
Piglet.
And Smeeze. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Piglets, Smeeze, the Rhino combo, Penny, Nalas, obviously.
Yeah,
Cindy's, Daisies. Nalas, they quest for 3 when they don't have damage on them. And now I've played with them enough that I remember that instead of always thinking they quest for 2.
Penny's great with
and
her.
screwing myself out of lore.
That's why I'm surprised more people don't play Amber Steel aggro right now because like Nala backed up by Penny to remove damage if she ever gets it on her. It's just, it's just sweet. But anyways, I don't know. I guess so many people, there was so much Amber Steel for a while there. I guess enough folks' decks have been tinkered enough to deal with it. Lewis is an Amber Steel hater. So,
oh yeah, that's a day ruiner.
Yeah,
I love eating Daisy Duck. Yep.
Yeah,
Daisy Duck, Nala, just eat them all day.
Tiana's. Yep. I love whenever I see a turn 1 Daisy come down and I got Lewis in my hand. I go, yep, I'm gonna get a free card draw because I don't have that many non-character cards in my deck. So I'm like, I'm gonna get a card draw out of it. I'm gonna get 2 card draws out of it probably because by the time I hit it down, no, it's just 1. I get 1. Depends on it, but yeah, it's nice. I just put up 2 more.
Daisies become useless so fast if you're playing against something that runs all characters.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like at some point I'm just handing them cards that they need to win. Like it's okay if I'm playing a deck where like I have a chance of hitting something else. But after a certain period of time, I'm like, oh yes, please have all of your good characters. That makes me feel better.
I'll leave Daisy on the board and go after like Lady instead, because Lady can sing. Sing stuff. And it's like Daisy's going to make me draw a card and I'll deal with Daisy when I feel like dealing with Daisy, but both of them are going to quest for 2, but Daisy's going to give me more cards to either ink or play. And so, yeah.
Well, and Lady can sing and Daisy can't, which is also that's a big thing.
All right, let's see. So I got to get Steven on here with our card game today. So this has become a game within a game for me with him because Steven is the only person I haven't stumped yet and have tried 3 times with him. So I got a good one today. All right.
So he made up a card this time, Steven. Whatever it says,
it's a brand new card.
Not the real.
You've never seen it before. So, all right, I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to give it a chance. I think I'm going to pull it up. Hold on. There's Steven's picture.
You see some of the cards I'm playing. I bet you didn't know what Night Howler Rage did till I put on my deck.
Hold on.
I looked at that deck list and thought he could pull any of these cards on me, and I wouldn't know what they did.
In all fairness, I know what most Emerald cards do. So I reread and reread and reread Emerald cards. Okay, here we go. So for those of you who are playing at home, all right, you know how this game works, right? We take away the text and we try to see if our guest or even you in chat can figure out what does this card do. So for those who are listening, let me go ahead and read it out. It is it Noir? I want to say Noir because I speak French. Yeah, it looks like Noir to me. Okay, so Noi, acrobatic baby, who is a 4-cost inkable ruby character, 4 strength, 4 willpower, storyborn ally. Steven, do you know what this card does?
Oh, this was actually a tough one. I know of the card. I want to say it's something like if you play an action, she can't take damage from challenges. Is that right? Or am I wrong on that?
Sabrina, you want to take a guess? Sabrina's like, I'm not playing.
Whatever Steven said, I agree with.
Here we go. Whenever you play an action, this character takes no damage from challenges this turn.
That's crazy. You have like a photographic memory or something?
I'm not going to beat him. The only thing I think
I
of
was
is
doubtful about that one. I was like, is that what it really does?
Dang, nabbit. He's 4-4 against me. Dang, nabbit. I wanted to have him back on just so I can stump him again. Well,
I think
not
it's my
again.
pick. I
for
think
the
it's
first
my
time.
pick next turn.
I do a lot of deck building, and I've gone through the entire card pool. Like every time a new set, like the entire card pool, start to finish. Obviously, now we're talking infinity and stuff like that, right? So it's getting harder and harder. But yes, I've looked at every card, and sometimes I'll be like, if it's a red deck, okay, I need a fat 4-drop that can really do some stuff. And so I'm sure she popped up, and I'm like, is that worth it? And then I dismiss her. But no, I've tried to seriously consider every card in the format in various decks.
Well,
You mentioned Infinity. Do you like the format?
I haven't played it enough to do it. I built a deck for Milwaukee in case I didn't make day 2. I
But
did.
you made day
So,
2?
yeah, unfortunately, it happens. But but
I think I'm crazy. I like the format. Like I was excited to play it this weekend. And if I go to
I think
Orlando, like I'm excited to play it.
I think I'll like it a lot because I'm a deck builder. I like to either trick my opponent, let's say, or like I said, I want them reading my cards, trying to figure out what they're doing. Because when people, and I've told our team this before, whenever you sit down at a big event and you have the same top 4 meta decks, you lose any advantage because they've played against your deck a million
Yep.
times. They know what you're doing and why. And so you lose that. If you can figure out a deck that's good enough, even if it's like tier 2, if they don't know what you're doing or why, you'll make up that percentage points. And so Infinity, there's going to be a ton of that. I mean, there's card interactions people have never seen. Like they're drifting back to Sapphire Steel, right, with Hiram. I'm sure there's going to be Amber Steel aggro we've seen, Ruby Sapphire, I'm sure, with some of the new items. But there's a deck out there that is good enough, the card interactions, that people are going to be like, what in the world is this? And I haven't found it yet. I haven't dug deep enough. But when it comes time,
It's there.
yeah.
It's
And Kelsey
there.
hopefully Kelsey will have me back on with some other brew, and you're like, how did you come up with this?
Yeah. It's
You heard it here, Kelsey. When he does it, we gotta have him.
Well, no, I struggle with this. Like for Milwaukee, like, okay, if you go back to YouTube and you look for the Lorcanarama episodes, you'll see there's a missing episode, and that was intentional. And that was because I had Steven and Mark on for episode 23, and they were doing their deck that they took to Milwaukee, and I didn't want anybody to see it. And so I left the episode off, right? So I struggle with this. Honestly, I have to walk the line of somebody looking out for his teammates versus a content creator, which I didn't think I'd ever call myself a content creator, but we are creating content, right? And so,
Did you ever think you'd be on a team?
No, I didn't. I
Because
always
that
thought
was a big thing for me.
Yeah, I thought I'd be on a team of 2. There's Jerwin, who's also on Emerald Coast Cards, back when Lorcana first came out, and I started playing. I told him, I said, I have no desire to play competitively. I said, but I have the capability to, and I'm a darn good deck builder. And so what I'd like to do is I wanted to go, help him out. I wasn't planning on even going to the events. They talked me into going to Atlanta, and that turned into me judging, which you guys know that story, right? So Jerwin and I, we would
Hey,
go
but you're
to.
gonna compete in Richmond.
I think. I'm pretty sure I am.
You are. You are.
So
we gotta bring it. We gotta run it back, Kelsey. Come on.
Yeah. We will. So instead of the players meeting together, right? So yeah, so my thing is, like, I always wanted to just help out a team. That that's all I wanted to do. I have cognitive glitches, and we've talked about this before. Like I said, I'm gonna be 55 in 2 days. I'm serious about that, and I joke about it with Scott every now and then, Scott Landis, and that comment I made about the pills. This is a serious comment, right? So it's like there's like. I could tell you stories where I've just been sitting down and I know what I'm supposed to do and then just forget that I'm supposed to do it and don't do it and lose a game because of it. Like, I mean, I know, I tell myself, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. And then something happens and I forget about it. And so while I'm going to play in Richmond, I need to get with Scott and find out what the
that fill
secret
is.
was, because he made day 2 in Milwaukee and he did us proud. And by us, I mean those of us who are the dads of the world, you know, who are the older guys. So I was proud for Dan, but I'm just going to say this. I was more proud for Scott. So, you know, that was something else. So, because Scott's one of me. So, you know, so anyways, yeah,
You felt represented.
I have no delusions of grandeur for Richmond, but I can tell you what I'm not going to do, and I am not going to play a meta deck. So that won't happen, because just like what Steven said, most everybody there is going to be sharper than me, and they're going to know the lines of those decks. There's no way I'm going to play a meta deck better than somebody else there. But
you'd probably play it better than me. We can find out.
Well, I want more than one win. So, yeah.
Have I told you what the back of my jersey says?
No. Is that the one that's O2 drop?
It just says O2 on the back. So
O2.
I switched my player name. My player name is no longer O2 drop. I went back to my old player name. And where the number would be, it says O-2. Now, the kicker is, both times that I've worn this jersey in tournaments, I have gone O2. So I think the jersey is cursed.
Yeah.
But
I ditch
we'll
it.
You need a 10-2 jersey.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
The team said after I won the mat that I could get a 3-0 jersey. So we'll see.
I'm going to manifest 10-2. As, you know, I'm going to speak it into existence. So.
That's the first step. You got to believe you can do it.
Well, you
can, and you're halfway there.
I've talked about this. Well, I've thought about this in the last few days, especially since I switched back, you know, to the deck that I'm most comfortable with right now. I still think, I'm just going to say it. I think that the best color combination out there right now, I still believe it, is Emerald Amethyst. There are so many tools there that need to be locked. Like it's so close. It is so close. And when you hit that right combination, if somebody hits that right combination with them, with that deck, and you got to have patience to do it with that deck. The lines are not obvious with it. But
real quick, let me tell you about the deck I played against the other day. When you're ready, I'll tell you about this one.
Fire away.
It was Emerald Amethyst.
Was it Mo's deck?
No, I don't know whose deck. I don't think so. I had never seen it before. It was draw. They make you draw. They have Webby.
Yeah.
And they play all the cards that make you draw, and then they bend.
Oh,
and
yeah,
make you discard, you know, half your deck. That is mean. Yeah. That deck is mean. You make me think I get all these fun cards to play with, and then you're like, psych, nah.
Bounce your stuff back to your hand constantly. Yeah.
Rude. So rude.
Yeah, that's a good deck for a slow meta. So
the girl I played against who was playing it, we had a really good back and forth. We were having a good time, but holy moly was that deck mean.
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, what the heck is this? And it was about a month or so ago. It was before this set came out that deck started gaining traction. And it was pretty cool. And I've said it before on the show, though, while it's in my colors, it's not my style of play with it.
It's not your play style at all.
No. So, but that's just me. You know, and that's why I'll never win a challenge, because I march to the beat of my own drum. It's just the way.
Not with that attitude, Kelsey. Well, we have to start talking better.
Steven
we're
and I
going to win a challenge. Look, we're going to day 2. We're going. You know, we got to start somewhere.
I have the same mentality as Steven. I just don't have his brain. So you know, it's like, look, there is something out there that, and if you just hit on it, and the thing is, like, right when I hit on it, I'm gonna go in this hole. You know, I'm not going to play it on Lorcanito. I'll get my teammates to play it. I'm not going to share it with anybody.
You're not even going to tell me?
Nope. I'm not going to tell anybody, man. It's just like, it'd be my bread and butter. So it'll be there.
There's a deck out there in Infinity for sure that's like that. I guarantee it.
Yeah. And I'm actually.
There almost has to be.
Yeah. I think in Infinity, it's, yeah.
I don't think there's enough people looking at what the new cards do with the old cards. Like,
They don't have
what
reason
do
to
the
right
set
now.
10 cards do with the set 1 cards? Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Though
so
there's
briefly,
somebody out there. There's somebody out there that is just reading all of the cards in their basement after work,
It's Steven's doing
figuring
it.
out what they do.
hello.
Yeah, Steven's doing
It's
it.
Steven.
Yeah, you got him on the stream right now.
And I'll post every random deck list that comes to my idea, and I'll test a lot of them out. And sometimes you're scared to test them on the public platforms, right? Because
Yeah.
here's the story. It only takes one time. I built a Amber Ruby deck early last set, preparing for Milwaukee. It was Power Line, all the Power Line cards. And I don't know if you guys realize this, there are a bunch of songs, like, I
Yeah.
don't know, 5 or 6 that say ready all your characters, eye to
Mhm.
eye. There's like an 8-drop one that's from Brother Bear. There's a amber one that costs 4. Try everything or something like that. And so, if you get those out with like an Ursula Seashell or whatever, you could play your entire deck and then play the Lilo that says you can play her for free if you play 3 actions. There's Kristoff that you can play for free if you have 9 songs in your discard. And so I played it the very first match and won 2-0 against some guy. And I'm like, wow, the deck's actually good. But then I went on like a 5-game losing streak. Well, the next day, I don't know if it was Kelsey or Mark or somebody, they posted a post from the 20 Lore Discord, and someone said, God, have you seen this new deck? I played on it against it last night. He played and he described my exact play line, and everyone's like, wow, that's awesome. And so it only takes crushing somebody once, and
Oh
then the
my
whole world knows
gosh.
about it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing, I've talked with this. I've kind of made these comments to our team and stuff. Is like, look, you get to a certain point, once you hit on what your sauce is for whatever deck, you need to go in that hole and not play it on those public platforms anymore. That's what a team is for, and you go in there and work out concepts. And a lot of times I go in there, which is why I finally hit master rank yesterday, because I finally, for the first time, just quit playing around and just went straight for it with a deck. Right. And so, because a lot of times what I'll do is I'm testing out concepts, not the real deck. I want to see how something's going to work. And then I'll go and mess around with it on, in person, or just in a private match with somebody that I know, and so, it's, I very rarely do I play my real decks on there, until yesterday, I did it. I was like, okay, I'm just going to float it because it's not a secret anymore, that deck, but I just wanted to see what it would do with the current meta. So, but anyways, okay. Well, we have made it to the end. So it was a good chat with you, Stephen. Thank you for coming on with us. Sabrina, welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's always
Thank
good.
you.
Again, just a reminder for folks. First of all, if you're in the chat and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. We appreciate it. And we'll post this video on YouTube in the next couple of days. Just a reminder, next week, we have on the winner of the CCQ Vegas with, we're going to do Ruby Amethyst deck tech with them. And so I'm looking forward to that. It'll be pretty neat. And so, if you would, when you see the video on YouTube, drop some discussions in the chat there. If you got decks you want to see us highlight in the future, just let me know. We'll dig up somebody who plays those decks. We got a lot of resources available to us here. Thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.